In today's video, we are going to be doing quite a bit of 12 volt wiring to this 2024 F450. And in this video, you're going to see how to tie into your upfitter switches. We are going to be removing the battery and bringing constant 12 volt power to the inside of the truck, as well as key on 12 volt power to the inside of the truck to power all types of devices. Some of these devices are going to, like I said, turn on with the key, and some are going to always be hot. There's going to be a CB radio going in that takes a good amount of voltage, so we're going to be running some heavy gauge wire to the inside of the truck. So you're going to see in this video how to pass a wire from the battery to the inside interior of the truck, as well as how to get a few wires, not just one wire. We're going to run power and ground on a pretty heavy gauge to the inside to power some devices. So right now I'm essentially just laying everything out. We've got our heavier gauge wire. Like I say, we want to be able to power some good size amperage. So this is a 10 gauge wire. We're going to run power and ground for our 10 gauge. We're going to incorporate a 40 amp fuse for our 10 gauge wire, and then we're going to run this wire. This is a real nice silicone coated wire that we are going to run to our key on power to power our smaller devices. Let's take a quick look at what we got going. Here is a look at some of the items that we're adding to the vehicle. We are going to do the built right, but these on top of the built right, they're already mounted because it's coming out of another truck, but you're going to have the ability to charge these devices with the key on, and this larger amperage draw is going to be what is powered on at all times. It doesn't need to be quite that large, but it gives room for expansion if needed, where you can add another power source. But all this is going to be wired up, fused, and good to go. That, I believe, actually this is the one that's going to be going. So this is why we need to bring in enough power to make sure that we have enough left over so that this stuff won't trip a breaker. So yeah, pretty interesting. So this is where I got to really pick my gauge of wiring selectively so that there's enough gauge for everything going inside the truck. All right, so number one, we're going to take out this battery. I'll show you a couple tricks that can actually get this battery out a lot easier. The easiest part is taking off the strap, 10 milli. Pay attention to how tight this is, because it's easy to crush this battery with this strap if you over torque it. So don't want to drop these. All right, battery strap is coming out. Now we've got to take our cables off our battery. Quick loosen of 10 milli. That's easy. Now, one thing to consider before going too far is you're going to be hot unless you unhook both batteries. And I don't want to lose data or have the vehicle dead on power. I'm still going to need power in the vehicle. So what I'm going to do is actually cover my positive terminal with a big rubber glove with hopefully no holes in it. So that way, if it were to touch over here, it wouldn't arc or do anything. And I don't have to unhook the other battery. And I can't just leave my positive terminal free without covering it up. So I'm going to cover up my positive terminal, stash it out of the way, and retain power and memory and everything in the vehicle, so I don't have to unhook that. Looks like I got a push pin here to unhook. That came out pretty easy. Another one here, because we're gonna take the battery and the tray out of the truck. So I need a push pin puller for that. All right, this is the push pin puller that I like to use. It's expanding, and hopefully it works in this situation. It's wanting to be a complication. See if that gets through there. tight one. So yeah, that gets off. And I'm also gonna put the rubber glove over the ground because the ground can touch the truck, no problem, but there's a ton of hot leads over here that would be an issue. Go ahead and unplug this. How does this work? That pulls and push. That gets out of the way. Now my battery's coming out. Now this is a tricky part because your battery is real heavy and it's awkward and you can't like get in here and pick it up. The trucks now are so tall. You could get up on the stool and then try to pick it up, then you're bending over, you're hurting your back. What I like to do is get a couple of picks and use the pick to get the battery out. And the way I do that is I take this, stick it down the side of the battery where there's a loop. They used to put handles on batteries back in the day. Maybe some still have that. And you can grab that loop and pull the battery up. And I got two. I don't know. Let's try and see if two picks will help me. I can't see that side. It's kind of blind to me. Am I getting it? I don't know. Oh, don't want to drop it. That makes it easy to pull out. Instead of bending over, hurting the back. And just like that, the battery is out. Oh, let's get rid of it. We'll put it up here so I don't have to bend over and get it off the ground. All right, so the battery's out. Next thing we got to get out is this battery tray. It looks like there's just 1, 2, 3, 13 millis. Let me get the gun. All right, 13 milli. I'm gonna pull the battery tray. Yep, 13 seems to be the size. Back up a little bit so you can see, like, it's so close, like. All right, let's go ahead and pull this out and see. So that's one. Oh, crazy on me. Down there. My universal is just too wiggly. I'm gonna get rid of it for a second. Oh. See how that works with just a straight shot. All right, straight shot. So it looks like there's 4. I'll need the universal for this one. All right, and I think before I put this gun away, is that it? Nope, there's a hidden one there I couldn't see. Right there, couldn't see that one. Too wobbly. All right, that should be it. Yep. Can I get this with one hand? Yeah, thing's pretty loose, easy to remove. And there she goes. I'll put this guy on the floor. All right. So, like I said, negative covered as well because I'm gonna be working on this off, and look at that. All these hot leads, touch that to the ground and you're in trouble. So covering both negative and positive. The other battery's still connected, so I still have power to the truck. So I can still move the seats, I can still start the truck if I need it. Good to go. So now that we've pulled our battery tray, we've given ourselves access to our upfitter switches. Now with the upfitter switch access, I need a pick to really get in there. With our access to our upfitter switch box, the other way to access this box is with the fender liner, but I don't want to have to pull that off on the 450. To get the fender liner off, you've got to take the fender flares off, and that's starting to mess with the paint and everything. And by just doing it like this, you've got the box off of the truck, so you can access your upfitter switch bundle, all of your wiring for your upfitter switches right here. Untape this up, and now you're freaking upfitting your truck. So we've got the same tape here in stock, and we are able to make this look just the same before we untaped it. So this gives you the switches up overhead, the positive side of the switches. You still have to ground it, and it also gives you the key on power. It's fused at 20 amps. Okay, so I've untaped it. Feel sorry for the poor person who tapes wiring all day, because that's a lot of tape. But this gives you your pinout for your upfitter switches. You've got 20 amp continuous power. You've got 20 amp key on power. So very useful. Get a close up of that if you can. Very useful information there for anybody doing upfitting to your truck. But for our case, we need to run a pretty good sized wire, and I need to figure out how much wiring, because if I look over at this built right, let's pop over there to the built right. This plug right here, actually this one here, is pretty juicy. I mean, look at the wire. They're calling for a fuse here for 15 amps, and I want this to be key on. So if it's key on and it's 15 amps right there, then what am I left with on these? I don't know the amperage necessarily on these, but you can see that they're probably 5 to 10 amps maybe. So this plus this, two of these, if I'm at 20 amps, I'm kind of I'm over my amperage for a 20 amp circuit, kinda. So I gotta think about how I want to play this. This is a little bit complicated because this thing here is pushing. This is a big girl. You know what I mean? That's a big plug. So I gotta make sure I get enough power to that. So I got some stuff to think about here. Let's pop in here and pull the glove box out, because there's gonna be a lot of stuff going on behind here. So we're gonna go and let's get rid of this. We're gonna go ahead and I'll show you how to real quick get this off. Pop that, pop this. Be careful, there's a detent there that you don't want to mess up. And then hopefully I can get this off without dropping all these contents. I might lose the contents. Try not to. Come on. I only lost one. Oh, I lost the phone. Lost the guy's burner phone. So we're gonna set this off to the side. Now that we're in here, oops. Now that we're in here, we've got the access now to do some connections. This is gonna house our plug. We're also gonna put a plug in here that turns on with the key and allows for some power for a dash cam. So you plug in your dash cam back here. I did this to my truck. Plug in your dash cam, and that's where all that happens. So anyway, pop over to the work table. So before we even go to the work table, we're gonna actually pull this seat out on the passenger side so that we can have access to a hole that's already there to run all this heavier wire through. It's not gonna be real invasive to the truck. So first thing for seat removal, put it all the way in the back position. And they've got these covers. You want to be a little bit careful taking these covers off. A pick might help you if you want to take these covers off of here. Minimum, you don't want to break these. Easy to break. That seemed to work good though with the bottom. Pop the bottom side up first, like so, and then yeah, no casualties here. With these, we want to store them somewhere safe, like in the glove box. There you go. I'll be able to find them later. And then this size, I think it's a 13. Let's see if that angle gun can rip these. 13 fits good. Let's see if it'll take it. No problem. Milwaukee for the win, huh? Super easy to do. Once you get the front, pull the seat all the way forward, hit the rear, and we'll just rock it back. This truck is pretty sweet. We need to switch sides. All right, let's go for the rear. It looks like the factory already did us a favor by barely putting this cover on here for some reason. I wonder why. Is there a reason this is protruding like this? Let's see. No, just didn't fit right from the factory. All right, this side, a little room. Pick. There you go, no casualties. And again, glove box. Now, Milwaukee, 90 degrees. Is there enough light? Now there is with this. Okay. All right. Now with all that removed, set this gun down over here. I don't have to take the seat out of the truck, but what I'll do, I'll probably need that. I'll probably need a push pin puller, I think. Let's see. I'll just kind of put the tracks right up under it. I'll rock it back first. And yeah, that might do it. I mean, I don't need a ton of room. I just need to rock it back like this so I can get to. There's a big hole already in this truck. So why drill a hole in the truck if there's already a hole in the truck that I can take advantage of? Let me pull that push pin out of there. All right, push pin coming out. Set that aside. There's already a slit here in the carpet, but if I can get in here and see without taking too much apart, there's a hole right there. You can see it's taped over right there, if you can see that. It's a piece of tape over top of a hole that I don't have to drill this vehicle. It already has holes in it that just have pieces of tape over it. So we'll plunge a hole right through that tape and route our wiring up. And that's how we'll get the wiring from the engine bay to the inside of the cab. Instead of just drilling a hole in the firewall. And then the carpet's so thick, our wiring's thin and it'll just hide up underneath the carpet. It's real good wiring, silicone coated and marine grade, so it'll be good up under the carpet. All right, so I guess it's time to start planning out some wiring. I'm definitely going to run a ground and a power because this radio has a lot of interference with signals in the truck. It really wants a direct connection to the battery and it wants some good voltage too. So we're going to run some pretty good heavy wiring and just isolate everything so that radio gets direct connection to the battery. Definitely a big deal with that. So we'll run a power and a ground, like I said, marine grade tinned silicone wire, real nice. We're gonna cover it with convolute. So what I'll do is I'm thinking I want to run this as well. I'm a little light on my gauge and I'm gonna just, I think, double this up. I'm gonna double this up and run it. And I'm gonna run on this side, I'm gonna run red and black to carry everything to the but the trick is, does this all fit through here? Because this is the only convolute that I have. Kinda does. So can I route this like this? Will this shove through? How far will this go like this, or do I need to split this? Starts getting a little bit harder. I should probably do it the other way, the standard way. So what I'll do, I don't know the end all length of any of this. So what I will do is I will go ahead and just run some of it, and then I'll put it in the convolute, and then I'll cut it all later. So maybe I'll just run what I think I'll need. That would probably be like, I don't know, decent amount. Then I'll get this. Whoa. How long is this? That might work. That's like over 6 feet. And that's probably gonna be enough. Yeah. From there, up and around to there. Take a chance, Columbus did. If it's not long enough, I have to put a piece of tape on it. What is that? You see that? Oh shit. Oh, I accidentally dropped that. Looking for it. There's a dog running around. We need that. We need a guard dog. So, in doing so, I've got to shove all this wiring through here, which is could be a pain. We'll see. There needs to be enough, though. So the engine side, on the engine side, there's got to be enough sticking out to handle all my shenanigans on the engine side. And typically the best way, if I'm only going 6 feet, there you go, like that, and work it. I'll do this off camera, but that's pretty much that. And that's going to be everything. We're going to go big power and ground. On this end, we'll run 2 power wires going in, and this is just going to get worked together so that there's enough gauge going in, because like I said, that's a decent size plug he's got there. That'll be fused at 20 amps. So if he runs more than 20 amps out of all that, then he'll just pop the fuse. And then if he starts popping the fuse, then he's going to have to potentially run another power wire. I don't know. But we're only fused at 20 amps. He could run a third wire on the upfitter switch and tap into maybe a pass-through wire or something. But doing it this way, we're avoiding all the pass-through wires altogether. But I don't know. Maybe I will use a pass-through wire for some extra voltage. I don't know. But he doesn't. That thing's geared up for 15 amps. But that's probably because you can run a cigarette lighter on it. I don't think he's going to run anything big like that on there. So, kind of a, I don't know. Maybe I will run another circuit. We'll see. So I've got all my wiring staged down here, and I don't know the final length. I just know that this is going to end up being long enough. So I'm going to run this electrician's fish stick down through the truck. I never used one of these before, but we're going to try it. And I'm going to run this down the top side, and I'm going to feed all this wiring up so that it can go down, and then it can meet me at this hole and go up. So let's try this out. I never used it before, but it looks pretty slick. This is what they use to pull wiring through like a home. So maybe I would like to, you know, punch out in a certain spot, and just got to figure out how to. So this, if I could route this through here, that would be pretty slick, but I don't know if there would be a good spot to go through. Oh, getting hung up. Through here. guess I can grab a creeper. So the whole thing is I gotta pop down, and I'm not quite popping down. So wherever that fish stick went, I have no idea. So maybe I gotta take a different path. Let's see here. Or if I just keep pushing it. Eventually gotta go somewhere. Take a look now. Aha! I've located it. Okay. I think I got enough. All right, so now that I've pulled that out, show this over here. Now that I've pulled that out, I'm gonna affix this wiring to this stick and I'll pull everything up. Hopefully it fits, we'll see. All right, so we're gonna try this metal tape. We'll see what happens. Moment of truth, I guess. This fish stick thing does seem to work a little bit better. I mean, you can use anything. I've been just using anything to fish this stuff. And whether it's, you know, a snow plowing stake, anything stiff enough to fit through the truck will work. But take a look as we're sucking this wire up. Can you see the wire going in? Yep, there it is. Going in. Haha, who's better than that? Oh, it slipped. Did I lose it? I lost it? Oh, man. No? Well, I lost it up here. All right, and there you have it. Fish stick is pulling it out. So now we are able to route, at least from here to underneath the truck. Now we've just gotta untape this and move on to the next part. Okay, so you can see the plastic convolutes coming up through the hole in the floor. And you have our 3 wires. They're routed underneath the carpet. Can't tell they're under there because the carpet's pretty thick. They're popping out here. This is gonna get tucked up, and we're gonna do our wiring inside of the glove box here. And underneath, you can see that the wiring is running alongside the frame here. It'll be hard to see because it's covered in convolute at this point, but it's right there. Gonna get zip tied to the OE harness underneath the frame, and it's routed under there, around, and under the hood, so that we can run a negative and a positive right to the battery for our radio with minimum interference, and we could run hot wire from our 20 amp to get key on power whenever needed. Key on power for our built right that is going up on the dash. All right, let's get some other things buttoned up and I'll touch base. What the fuck's wrong with this thing? All right, so I guess we're gonna do some wiring here. It's gonna be crazy, but hopefully I can just do this all right. We'll see. So I got two big leads here to power the radio independently, connected to the battery directly. I got two leads here. These are going to go to our other circuit that we're running to power devices. So we ran this separately. So this is going to power that. This is going to run up to the dash so that we can power our devices up there, and also ground. So for ground, so this is all going to be power, and we tied a ground in here. This is going to be ground, and this is going to be ground. So I gotta strip this. And figure out the best way to make these connections. Kind of tricky, huh?
See? Yeah, I like this camera better.
All right, pause it. All right, so we got all this stuff wired up pretty clean in here. You can't really tell what's going on, but we're gonna tie in our final piece here on the top. All right, here we go. This one here. We're gonna take these two pieces of shrink tubing and put them over here. One, two, and this will allow us to put our items on our built right, but also remove those items if needed. Try to do this right. One there, and a positive. And then from there, pull test, make sure we're tight. Pull down our string tube, for grounds. And then after I shrink that, this big one will cover everything up. Grab the torch. All right, hopefully I'm doing this right, because if not, I'm gonna have to do a lot of rewiring. Shrinky. Shrinky. Then this big one covers it all up. How's that look?
Good.
Big old flame on there.
Oh, I didn't get the flame action.
Dude, it's not working.
I already know you're lying.
Oh, all right, we gotta turn on the key.
Yeah. I already knew you were lying.
So key on, everything's lighting up. Everything's powering up. And we have the luxury of being able to disconnect this one. Can I do this with one hand? Oh, don't want to break nothing. But we can disconnect it. You guys get the point. And this also disconnects. This is the bigger one. And I'm going to tape this one so it's a little bit more protected. But I was wise enough to have the foresight to put the big cover here on this piece. So we're running 12 gauge wire up from here. It's going down here. It's all connecting and everything. We're going to plug our dash cam into this right here. And we have this plug, which is tied in direct to the battery, always hot, for our CB radio. Anyway, let's get this all buttoned up and we'll touch base. So here is the final product. We got constant 12 going to the CB radio, 40 amp fuse right there. You can see it's wired directly to the battery. So with our red wire here for our power, and with our ground wire here. Hard to see it because it looks so wee, but nonetheless it is. Off of our Upfitter switch box, we're coming in with 20 amps of power going to the built right hookup here on the dash with all these devices here. Key is not in the truck, so we can't show you, but as soon as the key turns on, it will power up all these devices here. Oh, okay. But yeah, this is a pretty sweet setup. He's got quite a few things charging up here. Cameras, 360 camera for an RV, GPS unit from Garmin, and some other things. I don't even know what some of these are, but nonetheless, the CB radio can turn on at all times. Pretty sweet. This is a special kind of radio. It's not a CB, but I can't remember. Hey, what kind of radio was this?
GMRS.
A GMRS radio.
Stands for General Mobile Radio Service.
So pretty sweet setup. But anyway, comment below, let me know your thoughts, and see you in the next one. Over and out.